If I was starting from scratch as a brand new artist on Spotify in 2024, this is what I would do. Even though there are approximately 100,000 songs uploaded daily, there are still so many artists succeeding, getting millions of streams, and you can be one of them. So if I was a brand new artist, one of the first things I would do, which sounds counterintuitive, but it would be to fail faster. You're not going to get better unless you get more reps in. And this is not just writing and releasing songs, which is like really important, writing them, but marketing each one. As you do this, you're going to get better and better. I think about back in the studio when I was just insecure. And so, it wasn't like on top of it. So I would make sure I memorized all my lyrics before I got to the studio. But then I was too scared to rewrite them. But as I grew in the studio and grew as an artist, I'd be able to rewrite on the spot, record on the spot, freestyle on the spot. But this was by getting more reps in. And the same thing is with marketing your songs. When I first released a song, we just put it out there. We didn't know what we were doing. And you probably have done the same thing. But then as you did more songs and you worked even with other people, you're like, oh, that's a creative way to release it. Oh, I didn't know about that promotion activity or that radio station or this connection or this social influencer, and you start learning all these things, and so that you get better and better. But I don't want you to be afraid to start small, because everybody starts small. But don't sit on the sidelines of your dreams. Get in the game. And it's okay if you suck at the beginning. All right. I heard my man Sean Canal say that, the recipe for success is to success. Right. And so you suck at first, but you get better. And as long as you're okay with that, you're going to improve, and you're going to make these little changes along the way to your songs, to the production, to the artwork, to everything that you're doing. Right. But you've got to get in the game. If you do that which you're afraid to do, the death of fear is certain. So what's the strategy for releasing your songs, right? Well, like I say on my Spotify 5-day challenge, which I really encourage you to click the links below to check that out. I go really deep into this, which is singles over albums. And you release singles leading up to the album. But if you're just starting, you don't worry about an album. Just start getting music out there and making your music better. And so let's just say you released 5 songs over a 6-month period, and each have been out at least a month. And now you've got some data to work with. You can look at those 5 songs and say, okay, which one got the most streams on Spotify and Apple Music? Which ones got responses on social media? And which ones were popping off? Which ones really caught fire organically? Which ones did you market more than the other ones? Take a look at the data. But what's really important is how many streams is it getting organically? Are people responding to this song on social media? I remember for us, back in the day, the only way to get data back was to perform that song live. And then after the show, if fans came up and they're like, yo, what CD has that song No Plan B, or that song you sang this on? Which CD is that on? Or just the plain reaction from the crowd. Are they freaking out during that song? Or is it like a sleeper and it's like, okay, don't perform that song anymore. But the more you release these songs, the more you can get data, and then you can pivot, make changes. You can look at the song that took off and you're like, okay, who produced that one? Was there a feature on the artist? What was the content around the song? What were you writing about, right? And then you can say, okay, let's focus and do that more. That's one of the things I really quickly picked up on early on in my career, was the songs that did well typically were the ones that were better produced and they were better written. And so I started to lean towards and work with producers that could make me sound great. Even to this day, I'll write all these songs. I'm like, okay, which producer do I want to give this to? Which one do I know that can really knock this out of the park? Because some producers, don't take it to that next level and don't have that sauce, so to speak. And you want to make sure you're working with A players that can take your idea. Because I could have this great idea, but I work with a mediocre producer and it's just but then I can take a so-so idea and I work with a great producer and they freaking kill it. So what's not so important anymore? And I hate to say this because I'm married to a graphic designer, but you don't need to be spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on album artwork anymore, or at least on the single graphics cards. In fact, you should be able to do it for almost free using AI and Canva.com. A lot of times we'll create AI generated stuff on ChatGPT. Sometimes I'll get my wife to retitle it, or we'll just get the image and then we'll add the titling or add the little nuances and she'll tweak it, because sometimes AI doesn't fully have it right. A lot of times you got 5 fingers or 4 fingers or something like that, depending on what you're doing. But like, you don't need to be spending hundreds of dollars on that. Like, save your money and put that into marketing. The cover doesn't matter. When it comes to like maybe you releasing like a full album, sure. But like, again, you can find people on Fiverr, on Upwork. You don't need to be spending thousands of dollars, even though I've really learned that, like, yes, you want dope artwork. That is important, especially for the album. But the singles, as you're growing, this is the beginner's guide, right? So you don't need to be spending a whole bunch of money there. I'd rather see you put that towards the producer, or put that towards the marketing, or even paying for a feature artist, right? You want to make sure you put the money in the right place. If you don't want to do AI, or you don't want to use Canva, you get a photo shoot done with a friend. You know, some of my best videos for even organic, let alone, you know, just album artwork, were just shot on an iPhone. You know, just make sure the lighting's right and you get a really cool shot, and then just freaking rock it right there. Because what's more important is what you do to promote it online, to get seen. And that's the other thing. Like, as you're beginning to do this, and maybe you're scared to kind of get your reps in and take your shot, right? And post on social media, I want to encourage you, just do it. Just post, right? Don't be afraid to start small. Start on TikTok, start on Instagram Reels, start on YouTube Shorts. Post them everywhere. Start on Twitter, but like, start on whatever one you feel most comfortable about, but put your stake in the ground and don't be afraid to get out there. You know, I find personally for me, I'll post almost anything on TikTok, right? But on Instagram, I'll be a little bit more picky. But I want to encourage you that, like, some of my best performing videos were ones either I just shot myself or my 10-year-old daughter shot, as opposed to the ones where I hired the video guy who's got the fancy camera and shooting these, you know, TikTok videos and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just the ideas that I come up with that I almost talk myself out of doing, that end up doing great. So I want to encourage you, that idea that you get, that's just like, oh, I need to go shoot that. Don't let yourself talk you out of it. Don't talk yourself out of your great idea. You've got great ideas. You've got talent, not just for videos, for songs. And I want to encourage you, don't listen to the haters. Don't listen to that voice of fear. Listen to that voice of faith. You know, and speaking of faith, you know, I stopped listening to what the world says about me, and I started listening to what God says about me. And he says he's got a plan to prosper me, to give me a hope and a future. And, you know, faith is an action word. And it even says in the Bible that faith without works is dead. And that word works means action. So show people your dream. Don't tell them your dream. Show them your dream. By posting, by releasing songs, by getting in the game, right? Like, just start, right? And this is the cool thing too. Like, you can have a so-so song, but have really great content and blow it up. Now, I'd prefer you have a great song and great content, and then you can blow it up even faster, but just start creating content. Like, it's the same thing all aboard. Like, my first video talking here on YouTube was probably not that great. I had to learn how to communicate and talk to the camera and not be afraid, but I did that by getting my reps in. All right. Now, before I go over these last few points, I want to encourage you to take our Spotify 5-day challenge. Go to 10xyourfanbase.com. I'll put the links below this video, but it's a 5-day challenge where I go super deep, do a ton of Q&A of some of the best answers I've given to some of the best questions that were asked on this, and you can watch it anytime. It's insane. Check that out. For starters, for people just starting again, trying to go from, you know, zero to hero, so to speak, on Spotify, equipment, right? I'm just using, what is this? A Shure SM7B. Okay, this is like what, 150, 200 bucks, 300 bucks. It doesn't cost much. I'm using like a Focusrite sound card. I got my Apple MacBook. I record here in my home studio. Sure, we got these sound panels and whatnot, but there was a while where I was putting blankets over my head, right? To deaden the sound. You can put up sheets. You can put up mattresses, different things to soundproof it. But, you know, some of my best performing songs were on this mic. Okay, not the Manly mic or whatever famous 10,000 Sony mic that I've recorded on in different studios. These, you know, super expensive studios. It's not the equipment. It's the song. It's the artist. It's the idea, what you do in it. So don't think you need to put all this fancy equipment in here. Like, it's like, even with this video, do you really care what I look like? Obviously, I got to sound clear and stuff, but it's about the content that you're getting. It's the value you're getting. So as long as you can crank out a dope song and you can get a producer that can mix you and make you sound awesome, this is all you need. You don't need a lot of crazy equipment. All right? For those of you just starting as well too, features. I've said this so many times to artists, man, like, get a featured artist on your song. If you want to grow faster and you want to get up into the stratosphere, work with other successful people that are farther along in their careers. I know it's sometimes out of the comfort zone to be around successful people, and it can be intimidating, but just get help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. People will help you. They'll reach out. You'll be surprised, especially if you're taking action, especially like artists that are more successful. They know the fear they had to overcome. Like, I don't mind helping artists that are like really like trying to go for it, as opposed to just like hating and stuff like that. Like, I only get hate from artists that are smaller than me. I never get hate from anyone that's bigger than me. It always comes from people that are smaller. And so don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it's getting a feature, getting feedback on a mix, getting someone to like just fix the lyric, make this chorus stronger. Like, be willing to be vulnerable and work with other people, because you're going to get to your goal so much faster. I said this in another video that, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a friend. But I believe it's like, if you want to go fast and far, go with people. Don't go alone. The last thing I'll say, and I beg you, please do not do this. Don't record a whole bunch of songs and then just release an album. Please, for the love of Jesus, do not do this, all right? Release singles. Single. I pound the junk out about this on the Spotify challenge, about how you get way more opportunities to pitch the songs. You promote the songs harder. It gives them way more of a chance, as opposed to just recording all the songs and then just putting out an album, and then you're already on to the next thing the following week. By releasing singles, it forces you to promote each one. And what I would do is I would release a single, release second single, third single, start stacking them. So that means when you release the third song, use the Waterfall release strategy. So let's say I release the song Dead Man, the song I Run With Wolves. When I release the next song Forever, I also release the other two songs with it. So when people go to listen to the other song, they can listen to the other three. And you can keep doing this and stacking 4, 5, 6. Sometimes I normally wait until like there's 5, or then there's 8, and then I release all the songs together. And you just use the same ISRC codes so that you don't lose the streams. If you don't know what that is, look it up, but it's a special code that goes with each of the songs, international song recording code or something like that. And so that way it's connected to that song. And so when you release a song for the very first time, that code is created. And then when you re-release that song, you can input the original code so that you don't lose any of your streams on Spotify, Apple Music, etc., so that your streaming numbers continue to go up. And it's not like this brand new song that's showing like no streams, right? Because social proof is important. And I want to encourage you, like, don't be afraid to start small. Again, like, I get it a lot, even on some of my songs. Oh, you should be a bigger artist. Or how come this song only has 1,000 streams? How come this song only has 100,000 streams? Wow, it took this long to get to 1 million streams. Don't be afraid to start small. Be afraid not to start.